Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today I'm looking at Dynasty stashes. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe if you haven't. 60% of viewers of this channel aren't subscribed. Let's change that starting today. Let's jump into our first player. So we have Treylon Burks. So, of course, Treylon Burks has kind of had a rough offseason and a rough 2023. But let's take a look at what he's done and see if there's any path for him to come back from the dead. In 2022, as a rookie, first round pick, 33 catches, 444 yards, touchdown on 54 targets, 3 catches and 40.4 yards a game. It's not great, but in a limited sample size, he actually looked good when he was on the field, and he was a solid target for the Titans that year. Then in 2023, everything kind of went wrong. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, and Burks just kind of never got it together. 16 catches, 221 yards on 30 targets, 1.5 catches and 20.1 yards a game. Seemed to maybe end up injured in the doghouse, a lot of problems. So right now, he's stuck behind Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Boyd. Burks is from the previous regime, whereas this current regime brought in Ridley and Boyd this offseason. And it's clear that DeAndre Hopkins is way ahead of Burks. So in order for Burks to really have dynasty value, I think at this point, it's not going to happen on the Tennessee Titans. I think that ship sailed with Mike Vrabel. But he is a talented player. He was a great prospect coming into the NFL. A lot of people's wide receiver one before the draft process started, and we realized that Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and other players, Drake London, would go higher. But it's clear that the new Titans regime hates him. So this is someone who's talented, still young, has that first-round draft capital, which is going to afford him another opportunity. And he needs a trade out of here if he's going to be relevant. The thing is, he's fallen so far in dynasty ranks that there's some opportunity here. He's wide receiver 90 on Keep Trade Cut. I have him at wide receiver 84, so 6 spots higher. I just think that, yes, is it rare for these types of players to ever work out? Yes. Am I paying anything for Treylon Burks? Not really. Maybe a 4th. Would I add him off waivers? Absolutely. Would I accept him as a throw-in in a trade, hoping that he breaks out later? Yes. So I just think that there's a little bit of potential here. Probably doesn't work out, but the talent, I just can't imagine that the talent vanished. So at his current price, I'm in on stashing Treylon Burks. Next up, Hunter Henry. So this is the total opposite type of stash. Hunter Henry is not going to gain dynasty value, but he will deliver some production, as he's done in his 3 years in New England. In 2021, 50 catches, 603 yards, and 9 touchdowns on 75 targets, 2.9 catches, and 35.5 yards a game. Now, that's not great, but for a tight end, that is relevant some weeks. Then 2022, not quite as good. 41 catches, 509 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2.4 catches, and 29.9 yards a game. This was the Matt Patricia year. Everything was just kind of a mess. A lot of things, crazy things were going on. So the offense was a disaster. But then in 2023, a little bit better. 42 catches, 419 yards, 6 touchdowns, 61 targets, 3 catches, and 29.9 yards a game. So he was a little bit better last year. The Patriots re-signed Hunter Henry to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal, which is actually pretty big for a tight end. And he should be a focus for the new quarterback, Drake May. We know that rookie quarterbacks tend to focus on the tight end, and it's not like the Patriots have any proven wide receivers. I mean, their best wide receiver is DeMario Douglas. So there is room for a tight end to produce in this offense. And we need players like this on the back of our dynasty roster. Those who cost nothing, but may present spot starts. And Henry is not even 30. We're not talking about a player who's in decline at the tight end position. This is still a player who could have relevant years. Now, on Keep Trade Cut, Hunter Henry is tight end 31. I have him at tight end 25. In redraft, I rank Henry actually pretty high. I have him at tight end 17. I just think that he's the first of the rest in tight ends this year. I think that in good matchups, you will be able to stream Hunter Henry. No, he's not going to gain a lot of dynasty value, but just the starts are worth something. So that's why I have him 6 spots higher among tight ends and why I suggest he's free in some leagues. So I suggest adding him to your Dynasty roster. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. You get my rankings, access to the Discord, and the ability to ask in advance questions for these YouTube videos. Tiers begin at a very affordable $6 per month. And there's also a variety of options on the Patreon. And patrons now can get access to roster review videos, which is available as an add-on to the Patreon, but only patrons can get access to that. And all of the support on the Patreon helps me create this independent content and be the independent voice that I like to be on this YouTube channel. With that said, let's get into our third stash. Cedric Tillman. Now, Cedric Tillman is getting a lot of hype at camp. We're hearing a lot about how he's doing very well at Browns camp. Last year, he was okay, not really all that great, actually. 21 catches, 224 yards, 44 targets, 1.5 catches, and 16 yards a game. So really didn't do anything. It's odd because he earned a lot of playing time. After returning from injury in week 9, he played a starter snap share in every single game and over 85% of snaps in 5 of 10 games. So he was out there and didn't really deliver, which is not usually a good sign. But currently, it seems like Tillman is displacing Elijah Moore as the wide receiver 3 on the Browns. I expect, as the Browns camp hype has said, that the starters will be Amari Cooper and Cedric Tillman on the outside with Jerry Jeudy in the slot and Elijah Moore kind of displaced. Tillman was a great college prospect and has third-round draft capital. I'm not saying he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to get a chance to play. So right now on Keep Trade Cut, he's wide receiver 102, and I get it. He didn't do anything as a rookie. I have him wide receiver 96. Maybe I'm even going to move him up a little bit because second-year breakouts do happen. He did get on the field. He wasn't good, but it is possible that he could have a breakout in year 2. And I just think for the price of free, I'm okay having him on a Dynasty team. My last stash player, Mason Rudolph. Now, we're not going to go through Mason Rudolph's entire career because there's a few games per year. But last year, when he came in, he was actually pretty good. He had 55 of 74 passing, 74.3% completion, 9.7 yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns against 0 interceptions. We saw that he created some big plays. He temporarily revived the Steelers' offense, and he was far better than Kenny Pickett, although that's not saying much. So right now, he signed with the Titans on a 1-year deal as a backup to Will Levis, and he has excellent weapons in DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, and Chigakonko, and even Treylon Burks, who we talked about earlier. And as we know, Levis is totally unproven. He had that 4-touchdown game to start off, and then he was not really good after that. Rudolph had fantasy relevance in Superflex when he started last year. So for those reasons, on Keep Trade Cut, he's quarterback 66. I have him at quarterback 51, 15 spots higher. I'm not saying that Rudolph is ever going to be a franchise quarterback or anything, but in Superflex Dynasty leagues, these are the types of players we want to roster and we want to hang on to on the back of our benches because that insurance at quarterback is very, very valuable. And we've seen just recently that Rudolph can provide that and that we can trust him if he does go in. Now, I actually don't have any Patreon questions for today's video. Hopefully we'll have some more for the next one. But I do have one thing I want to talk about, and then we'll close out the show. Brandon Aiyuk's trade rumors. So there's been a lot going on about Brandon Aiyuk potentially being traded from the 49ers. And for me, I doubt it. I really highly doubt that Brandon Aiyuk is traded. The 49ers are in year 3 of Brock Purdy's rookie deal. This is right in the middle of their Super Bowl window. If they trade Brandon Aiyuk for future picks, that's not going to help them win a Super Bowl this year. So unless a team comes with like a ridiculous offer, maybe one including a wide receiver and a pick, I don't see it happening. I just don't see Brandon Aiyuk being traded. I think this is a good opportunity to buy Brandon Aiyuk in Dynasty because I think the 49ers get a deal done with Brandon Aiyuk in the $28 million a year range. Something like, 3 for $80 3 for 84 on top of his current deal. I think what they'll probably need to do to get the deal done with Aiyuk is have a very high percent, without raising the amount, is to have a high percentage of guarantees. Very, very solid guarantees. They can guarantee 65 or 70 million of that 84 to potentially get the deal done at a slightly lower number than what I think Aiyuk is wanting in the 30 million plus range, which I just can't see that happening. I don't see how Brandon Aiyuk is worth more than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Amon-Ra got 30 million. So I think Aiyuk's going to have to settle in the 28 million a year range. And I think the guarantees are going to be a way to get, or maybe a high signing bonus or something along those lines, is going to be a way to get that deal done and have a compromise for both sides. Because Brandon Aiyuk excels in the system. The 49ers need Brandon Aiyuk. And I really don't see a trade as happening. Now, if you like the video, make sure to drop a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. As always, the best way to support the channel is to subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty, redraft, rookie, start sit, and more. Every sign up helps support my independent content. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.